Hello everyone, I'm Adam and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a downdraft sanding table. Alright then, let's get started. The original plan was to use a piece of this pegboard that I picked up at the hardware store. But the problem with it is, it's just too flimsy. And originally what I thought was that I could just kind of strengthen it, but then I think that could affect the airflow, which might not be a big deal, but it might be. Then I remembered that I had this piece of drop left over from where I cut out for the router tabletop. So this is what I'm going to use instead. I'll just cut some holes in it. I've just got to measure where my 2x4 framework is here underneath the workbench top, and that's how I'll decide between that and between the size that I have here, how big I want my downdraft sanding tabletop to be. So I'll get started on that now. Okay, so based on the size of my drop here, which is about 23.5 by 31.5, and what I have underneath here, I'm going to make this, I'm going to end up cutting this to 20 by 24, because I know I can get that out and still avoid these corners and everything. Now I also know that my 2x4s are about 3 inches from the outside edge here, so I'm just going to come in just like I did on the router tabletop. I'm going to come in 3 1/4. A track saw works perfect for cutting this out as long as I make sure I don't go past each corner, but of course you could use a jigsaw to do this same thing. I started out using this pull saw to try to finish into the corners and realized, it was just too much of a pain. I used duct tape to make sure that once I finished the corners that the piece didn't fall through. Then I finished the corners with my old trusty jigsaw. And by trusty, I mean piece of crap. This thing's old and I gotta get a new one. You can see me moving all around just trying to keep the cut straight. I did end up using the pull saw just to kind of finish cutting through the veneer where I hadn't quite made my track saw deep enough. After finishing the hole for the downdraft table, I cut the top out of another scrap piece of plywood that I had. Next, I cut the sides out. I should mention that I built this box out of 1/2 inch plywood. I did that because the way that I cut the top out leaves a 1/4 inch lip all around all the 2x4s underneath. So when I put the box up underneath to attach, I'll have a 1/4 inch of that 1/2 inch plywood underneath the top, and it'll leave a 1/4 inch reveal, which will then hold my removable downdraft top. Does that make sense?
I took this 2.5 inch fitting, decided where I wanted it to be in the top, and marked it out. Then I went and looked for a hole saw, which I could not find my hole saws. So I had to drill it out and then use, yep, that's right, my favorite jigsaw. This blue piece of tape hanging off the side has been on here for about 8 years. I put it on there to keep the saw from blowing dust into my face. I just like to keep it on there for sentimental reasons. I took it over to the spindle sander to clean it up and get it right to the edge. I took a piece of 1/2 inch plywood and put it in here to figure out kind of what angle I wanted and where to make the cut. And originally this was going to be a lot more complicated, but I kept it fairly simple. I just marked out where I needed to make my cut. And then I marked it again. And then I was like, can I see that good enough? Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, let's mark it one more time. Nice. I cut it out, and then after I cut it out, I decided I didn't want to use the 1/2 inch after all. So I went back and I made a piece out of 1/4 inch MDF instead. I just cut these riser blocks out of some scrap material that I had. There's going to be no pressure on this really, so there was no reason to do anything fancy. Also, I didn't bother to cut an angle on the end of the MDF because again, it's going to work just fine. That's not going to make a huge difference, and why put that kind of time into a project like this? Once my MDF is in, I go ahead and caulk all the edges and smooth it out. I don't really know if this is necessary, but it certainly can't hurt. I marked out a grid on what will be the downdraft top, and this will be where I drill all my holes. And this will also be where I regret marking all these holes. I take the hole saw and I'm just drawing these out just to kind of get an idea what the spacing will be. Let's start drilling. Yeah, I've only got to do this like 500 times, so no problem, right? Almost there, almost there. Woohoo, first one done. Yeah, then I gotta do this every time. Let's go.
And there you have it, folks. Just 3 short hours and about 7 batteries later, and we're halfway there. I mean, all the holes are cut out, but we still got to take it to the router table. I almost forgot. Look at all these delicious bench cookies I cooked up while doing that.
I used a roundover bit in my router table and went over or under or what? What would I call this? Anyway, I put a roundover in every one of these holes.
Hey, does anybody else have a strange desire to play Connect 4? No? No, just me? Okay, no.
I went ahead and started some screws in the sides of the box before I installed it from underneath just to make it easier. And now here's hoping the top fits perfectly. Yeah, maybe I should have tested that before I drilled all those holes. But woohoo, it fit.
So I don't have my whole dust collection system set up in my workbench yet, but I do want to find out how well this works. So I've just connected it to the shop vac outside of what will be the system. And let's give it a shot and see how well this works. Okay, so I have to say, I was a little bit concerned after I got it put together that maybe I put too many holes in it, maybe the holes were too big, because I certainly regretted drilling them out, but it actually works pretty amazingly well. There's no dust sitting up here. For one thing, there's not much room for dust, but but I could actually feel the suction and it pulling the dust down. So I'm pretty thrilled with this. People, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button. If you have any ideas about something I could have done differently, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Say bye. Bark, bark, bark. That's not a bark.